in the black with the red trim.
Okay,
and Roy Jones Jr. black and white.
In your dressing room. Okay, look. He goes right here is okay. Anything below that's low. Right here is okay. Anything below that's low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
The lower lip stuck out there by Bernard Hopkins.
Little stare down, little showmanship.
Two very crafty fighters. It might be the last fight for both of these guys or either of these guys. We'll see. They can still attract the pay-per-view audience worldwide, and glad that you're with us. Wherever you're watching around the world, I'm Colonel Bob Sheridan with Dave Bontempo, and here we go. Hopkins with the red trim and the black trunks, and with the white trim and his black trunks, Roy Jones Jr. Getting each other out in the early going here. Jones with the hands held high. Bernard comes upstairs. He wants to try and end this in a hurry. He thinks he can knock him out, and he thinks he can do it in a hurry.
He'll be doing his best. He'll tie up, and then he'll explode off the tie-up. He has so many unusual angles, Hopkins does, and he's a much different fighter than he was 17 years ago tactically. You know, Jones has always been Jones, but Hopkins has changed a lot.
Roy tries to double that jab, and his body looks in tremendous physical condition. Both of these guys are in great shape. I mean, a 41-year-old and a 45-year-old. Look at these men. First minute gone. Roy hasn't opened up at all. Bernard has tried to land some shots, and he walks him back on his heels. And Dave, you make a big point. This is a different Bernard Hopkins that fought 17 years ago. This guy has got more intelligent, more ring sense, just smarter in every way as he's developed as a middleweight into the light heavyweight division.
His guile over the last few years has been astonishing. He can be patient with fighters. He knows when to turn it on. He'll mug you. He'll wait, and then at the moment of weakness, he'll maximize it, and he'll just work on your will over the course of the fight. And it's something that when you watch him fight by fight, you really admire it. And he tries to keep current. He got Mackie Shilstone, the noted conditioning guru, who helped Michael Spinks move up and defeat Larry Holmes. He's got Mackie Shilstone with him, and his body looks sculpted.
And Roy Jones Jr., you know, he's a guy that fought up over the 200-pound limit when he won the heavyweight championship over John Ruiz. And now here he is back down at 175, and the body is sculpted. Roy hasn't done one-on-one. He's been trying to put some pressure on here, and one ties him up. Roy is a guy who is famous for setting traps, sucking guys in. Hopkins, a very, very bright fighter, lost close decisions to Jermaine Taylor. And when you think of that, it's extraordinary now to see what happened to Jermaine since then. Because, I mean, Hopkins was very, very good in those fights, too.
Taylor was never the same after the 9th round of their first fight when Hopkins mugged him. And Taylor lost his swagger from that moment on in his career. And he also did it to Tarver. May have done it to Pavlik as well.
Well, in round one, it's clear to me that Bernard Hopkins has out-hustled Roy Jones Jr. Roy hanging on for dear life for the bell ends round number one. That, to me, is a Hopkins round.
Good job. Don't go for the fake out, baby, like he walking up. He dancing up. The minute you move, he gonna jump out and look for a counter hook. Whenever you double or triple your jab up at you, he's gonna fall straight back in the line. You're gonna go to the rope, make the investment, and look for the left hook because he dropped right here inside.
He sure does drop his right hand. Nassim Richardson telling him that.
Walk him to him. Yeah, I'm just telling you to pick it down. Mess with him. But make sure you paint at him more. Look, all you got to do is get enough flow and you'll take charge. But you got to take charge with your jab and so forth. Get ahead and make him desperate, all right? Come on. Here we go.
Coming up to round two at Mandalay Bay, Bernard Hopkins won the first round. Let's see if Roy Jones can turn it up in round two. Here we go. Roy Jones in the white trim on his black trunks. Bernard Hopkins in the red trim on his black trunks. Roy Jones Jr. needs to turn it up a notch here. in the second round. Jones right in front of him. He has the hands back up again. He was dropping that left hand down, which would make him wide open for the right hand of Bernard Hopkins. Bernard will try to sneak off that left shoulder of Roy and throw the right hand. Instead he goes to the body and he catches him upstairs with the right hand.
And drives Jones into the corner.
Stop.
Landing shots. You never saw Jones getting hit with 2-3 shots in a row up until recent years, and that's what Hopkins is trying to capitalize on.
They both try to, hit shots to the offside of the referee, but there's no love lost between these two guys, and it's genuine. They have respect for what each other has done in the ring, but they don't have respect for each other as individuals.
And that's why they're cashing the paycheck tonight, because they were able to play that up and get this fight going.
And they played it up well. Again, Roy Jones, I think, making the mistake of hanging that left hand down. There was a time in his career I thought he could get away with that, and he did get away with it. He'd set trap having that hand down.
Stop.
Whether Bernard has the firing power still, the brain fires and the hand goes at the same time when you're 25, but when you're 45, does the same thing happen?
Something interesting we're talking about the ability level of both guys. They both put Joe Calzaghe on the canvas within a short period of time of each other and fighting them. And Calzaghe came back to beat both guys.
Well, these guys are extraordinary athletes. These are the best of the best. When you're talking about Hall of Fame fighters, these are two that are definitely taking it for the Hall of Fame. But still, Roy hasn't done enough to win the first 2 minutes of this round either. And Bernard trying to mug him as best he can. He goes downstairs. Roy just hasn't done a lot offensively. And these are the sort of traps that he always set in his career, but he doesn't seemingly be able to do anything to get off behind it. His Hopkins coming upstairs now as he's got Roy in the corner and banging him. Tony Weeks lets him go. Lets them work on the inside.
He's got to let them do whatever they can do to get some offense generated in here.
See, what Roy should have done there was turn him and spin him and throw him into the ropes, because Bernard is more of a real street sort of guy out of Philadelphia. And when you get a guy like that, you got to try and out-muscle him, or at least, give him the idea that you're out-muscling him. And he hasn't done that to this point in the fight. And Bernard gets off on that. If you can do it,
I don't know if he'll be able to do that.
But that's a Hopkins round, too.
You got to put your hand out a little closer to him. You know what I'm saying? Put your hand out closer to him. Put your shield out, fight with your hand out.
Roy got a little cut.
There is a collision of heads. Also, Hopkins leaning forward here.
Got an accidental on the cut.
Threw a couple shots, and an accidental headbutt apparently has been ruled in that cut that Jones has. These guys are vying for position. Not surprising, you see some of it come with the head.
Seconds out.
So we're coming up to round 3 at the Mandalay Bay Event Center. I'm the Colonel Bob Shirt, along with Dave Bontempo. Bernard Hopkins in the black trunks with the red trim. Roy Jones Jr. in the black with a white trim. Slight cut by the left eye of Roy Jones Jr. Nothing real serious. The heads came together.
You watch Hopkins. He jabs and then lowers his head and then comes in. And that's how the headbutt occurs.
And that's how you might see more of the head clashes, too. Roy Jones Jr. is 5'11", but Bernard Hopkins is 6'1". Roy always looked to be the taller, but Bernard actually is taller. Roy Jones trying to sucker him in and counter him. But so far, he really hasn't been able to get off the quick shots.
He's trying to con a con man here.
Oh, yeah. Both of these guys. They're the best of the best at that. Boy, Roy's lucky he didn't get nailed that time by Hopkins coming in. Hopkins had his left hand. He had parried both the left and the right hands of Roy Jones down and was wide open. He threw the right hand, but it missed. So far, the hand speed of Hopkins and his commitment to throwing power shots has been greater than that of Roy Jones at this stage. But we're in the early going.
Hopkins is content to charge, tie you up, land one good shot, go back, and repeat the process.
And he resets. Look at the positioning of Bernard Hopkins, and Roy unable to reach him.
And Hopkins always ties up as soon as he gets to Dzhons, and that negates the ability for Dzhons to set that trap. It's not going to go off when Hopkins ties him up.
Hopkins knows exactly what he's doing. Watch what Dave is talking about. He'll throw his combination, grab and walk it back in the heels. Watch now. In, and throws his wear. Now he ties up.
Stop. I got
you. Tony he short-circuits the fight.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, he short-circuits the momentum of Dzhons by doing that.
A minute to go in this round, and Dzhons has got to be able to figure something out to stop him, or at least hold him off with a jab and throw a couple of, really commit to some power shots to Bernard, because Bernard can do this all night. Just jab, throw his shots. Now watch him grab, and he holds him up again, and Roy seemingly can't do anything to stop that. And Tony's going to let him fight a little bit on the inside, but once they're tied up, he's going to have to separate the two. Now watch Bernard get set again. He'll do exactly the same thing. This is what Dave Bontempo pointed out to you. Watch him. He's getting off first. Roy can't wait like this. See, Roy's hands are squared up trying to catch him coming in, but you're not going to get any power off when your hands are up like that, when your shoulders are squared like that. He tried to count him with a left hand downstairs, but Bernard was quick to grab him immediately that time because he couldn't get anything off. So in the battle of what was that? A little jump by Bernard getting out of there. It looked like a cat when you throw a shadow down in front of him. And my score sheet, I've got Bernard winning all three of the rounds as working on the eye of Roy Jones.
He pulls his hand in and he can't swing wide. Make him pull his elbows in. You understand what I'm saying? Can you feel the contact on the inside? Can you feel the contact on the inside? You throw your punch on the middle. You don't need to jump in, land a shot, and tie you up. That's all he's looking to do.
Director tonight is Brian Mayer, and doing a great job in that we're at the mercy of the local television networks here.
And here is Hopkins on the stalk against Dzhons. Left hook, the tie up, and that's a repeating process. But he gets the edge in each situation. Just slowly piles up points.
So if this is Bernard's fight plan, and obviously it is, it's working to this point. Roy again has got the hands squared up so he can't have power with his right hand lead the way he's set up there. He has decent hand speed with the left, but as soon as Hopkins come in, Bernard grabs again, as long as the hands are free. And look at this. Now that time Roy grabs him. A little bit on the sloppy side. 30 seconds gone in the fourth round. Dzhons hasn't won a round yet. Unofficially, that is. The official judges are Dave Moretti, Glenn Trowbridge, and Don Trella. Trella from Connecticut. The other two are Nevada State Athletic Commission judges.
Here you go again with the same thing. And when you tie up a Roy Jones or a guy who sets the kind of traps he does, you negate his speed, you negate his athleticism.
And this is what Dave was talking about, that this is not the same fighter that fought 17 years ago. Nothing dramatic, just very smart. And Roy can't seem to do anything to stop this. Roy trying to reach with the left hand, and Bernard has been able to parry it off most of the time. You see him reach down, and Bernard's still quick on the feet, able to get out. His positioning is perfect, staying outside. See Roy with the hands high, trying to prevent himself from getting clipped with anything to the jaw. And, you know, that's something after being knocked out a few times in his career, that he's very cognizant of that fact, Dave, and he didn't fight like that before.
No, there's defense and there's paranoia. And right now he's got a blend of the two. Now, what Dzhons would have to do is gamble, because Hopkins is doing something predictable. Jabbing, lowering the head, and coming at him. At some point, Dzhons has to let a big one go and try to catch him on the chin coming in. He has to try to change the tempo and the flow of this fight that way.
It's an interesting fight, but Bernard is just, you know, winning these rounds 10-9. Not convincingly, just doing what he has to do by preventing Roy Jones from getting off at all. As Roy tries to counter him and spin him, and this guy just grabs onto him. He really can't do anything effective with Bernard.
This would be the equivalent of a different sport, and the idea is to win a low-scoring game. And that is what Bernard Hopkins does here. He goes in, he'll take just enough offense to win the round and try to hold Roy Jones to almost nothing.
Well, Roy finally landed a left hook, and it was a decent one, but it certainly didn't slow down Bernard Hopkins. It didn't hurt him. Bernard is the aggressor throughout the course of this fight and has been. And this is just another one of those rounds. Roy landed one decent left hook in the entire round. He's tried to stay busy enough, but he can't figure out the tactics of what Hopkins is doing. Bernard comes in, as long as his hands are free, he continues to throw, and they break clean at the bell.
They're going to try to steal shit by showing that. We're getting a little more comfortable, so now you're going to open up and play into our hands.
Hakeem Richardson talking to Bernard.
Keep that thing going.
It's John David Jackson over the ropes.
Step over. That right hook will be there. But when you're driving back, don't
Leon
smother
taps
yourself.
with his back.
You drop back, take the half step back off, come back with that hook, drive that right hand back to the body.
Let it go. Let your hand
But keep breaking him down. Don't play with that right hook to his body. When you get in there, drive that thing up in there, man. Drive it right up in his heart. All right? Don't play with him in there. You're going to break it.
Here's action from that last round with Hopkins advancing, tying up, and Jones complying by covering up. And then that sets up Hopkins. Hey, if you pull a guy and you just land 2 punches, you won the exchange. And if you have 6 or 7 exchanges in a round and you win them, it's your round.
And that's what's happened in the first 4 rounds, in my opinion. Go again. Bernard Hopkins is in the black trunks with the red trim. Roy Jones Jr. the white trim and his black trunks. Again, watch for Bernard. Punch, punch, grab. When his hands are still free, he backs off where Roy Jones can't seem to counter him. Roy has got to start coming forward and unleashing some shots here. It's not what he's... Roy doing more feinting than throwing. I mean, it's good, but, Bernard will jump back and it looks good, but you got to land something behind it. And Roy's having difficulty doing that with the crafty Bernard Hopkins. Dave, see that right there? That's how crafty Hopkins is. Roy was zeroing in on him, going to the corner. Bernard step to the left, back to the right out of there.
Some of the throwback tendencies he has are remarkable. They make the classic boxing fan appreciate the tricks. And there was a nice sneaky right hand by Jones, who showed his own athleticism in getting his right hand in. Foot speed.
Dave, he's a great athlete. He has the foot speed, but he's got to do more of it. And he'll really excite this crowd if he does. Bernard, like a bull, puts his head down and comes in and kind of bum rushes him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he bum rushes him, then he ties him up and sets up the exchange so that he's going to win it.
And Tony letting them work on the inside. Jones, I think, get a little bit better of it on the inside with this exchange.
Let me go.
Half the round gone in round number 5. Jones having a better round in round 5 than in the first 4, but has he done enough to win the round? I don't know.
Still some time to play out, but with Hopkins getting off to this big edge, Jones has almost no margin of error now.
And it's not apparent that either one of these guys has knocked anybody out recently, so...
Stop.
You take that equation and you pull that fact out of there, and you have a fight continuing like this for 12 rounds.
And Hopkins hasn't had a knockout since 2004, and if our scorecard is accurate, I really think it is, Jones would have to win 7 of the last 8 rounds to win the fight. He hasn't won 1 yet.
He may be winning this round because he's winning that little battle on the inside of this war. In previous rounds, Bernard has really tied him up on the inside, and it seems like Bernard wants to fight on the inside a little bit now. And this is a battle that Roy Jones would just hit him with a low blow, and Bernard gets right back and blasts his body. This is tough stuff now with these two guys. Extraordinary athletes. At this age, performing at this level is extraordinary.
Hopkins opening it up a little bit here to the body.
Tony says keep him up to both guys. Both guys victimized and both guys threw low blows during the course of that round. That's a very close round. Is it good enough to give to Roy?
Yes, it is.
We give that to Roy Jones Jr.
He's breathing hard. He's breathing hard, Jay.
You're grabbing that head, Tony. He's just looking to grab that head, Tony. Let your hands go. Hey, listen, X-Factor. You can't smother yourself inside. You need to take that half step over.
Good advice.
Drive that hand. Same thing you work on the gym.
Take
that half step over. Drive that right hook to the bully. Drive it up the middle. All right? All right, don't smother yourself. But that jab gives you the space.
On the inside, touch it. Don't let
Jab gives you the space.
That's exactly what Hopkins was doing. He was smothering himself on the inside, and that's why I gave Roy Jones Jr. that round. Okay, take a look at this replay.
On the inside, one shot doesn't get called. With the referee distracted, he got a freebie in there. When you've got the referee shielded, I guess that's when you go for it. And it's what he did.
And both of these guys are clever enough. That was no accident.
Nope.
And it's no mistake that it was on the offside of the referee. All right. I got Hopkins out in front in the fight, winning the first 4 rounds, and Roy Jones winning the 5th round. This is round 6. It's scheduled for 12. It's a chess match right now. Now you can see if Roy Jones can sustain a couple of rounds and put a couple together and get right back into this fight. Or will Bernard go back to his old strategy of throwing shots, grabbing him, and walking him back? Bernard doing the feinting now. Up on his toes. Bernard seems to have a little bit more respect right now for Roy Jones after that last round.
That was a good round for Jones. In the past, Jones relied on his athletic abilities to move his feet and make the other guy make the mistake before he would jump in. He's relying on Bernard Hopkins to make the mistakes, and that's probably an impossible tactic in this fight because Bernard Hopkins will tie him up and make it a shorter fight. So Jones at some point must gamble.
As the chess match continues here in round 6, the crowd gets a little antsy. Bernard comes in, and here he is back to his old tactics. Throw, and then grab and walk back. Now, can Roy take advantage of it on the inside? Tony separates the two. Much more confident look right now in the face of Roy Jones Jr. He comes forward, tries to get off first at time. Bernard slips away. Continues to circle around towards his right.
Good hook by Jones. You throw the same look at a guy for 5 rounds, there's a chance he'll get comfortable with it at some point and change. But now Hopkins is changing back.
And when he came back to holding those hands up high, Hopkins came in, and now Roy looks like he wants to fight now. And this is what he's got to do. But Hopkins, the street brawler that he can be, the Philadelphia fighter, tries to put the pressure on Roy. How clear the eyes are of Roy Jones. Both of these guys are in their office when they're in the ring. And no love lost between the two. Both slick Hall of Fame fighters. They've done extraordinary things in their career, not the least of which is Roy Jones winning the heavyweight championship of the world and then going back to fight as a middleweight, as a light heavyweight at 175, as he's fighting tonight. He won the middleweight championship, beating Hopkins 17 years ago in Washington, and Hopkins has never forgotten it. This round kind of up for grabs. Oh, he hit him in the back of the head that time. Time is called. Bernard Hopkins was hit in the back of the head.
Nailed in the back of the head.
Really cracked in the back of the head. Tony Weeks will give him all the time he wants. They're asking for the doctor to come in right now. He hit him right in the back of the head. Now, mind you, if Hopkins was fatigued enough, he's smart enough to try to pull this off. Now, let's see if the doctor takes a look at Bernard.
It's the most pain we've ever seen on the face of Bernard Hopkins in the middle of a fight.
Tony will give him all the time he wants, and we just hope that this isn't the end of the fight.
Say it again. Yeah.
He says he's okay, it looks like. It appears that Bernard is all right as he gets up. He's still a little bit dazed. We get a hit right in the back of the head.
Take a look. Got hit by the ear there. Here, Jones got hit by the ear, right in the back of the head.
Yeah, right behind the ear.
A blatant shot, too. A clear shot he had. We'll take another look. Hopkins on the attack. Dzhons turns him and hits him square in the back of the head.
One of the worst things you can do as a fighter is turn your back to another fighter.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a point for hitting behind the head. See what he's doing.
Now, they'll take at least a point.
Roy, you hit him behind the head, man. I can't have that. No. He had his back turned. 1 point.
He's taking 1 point off Roy Jones Jr.
We're going to see if he can continue. That's all we have.
The point comes off, and Roy Jones right now better hope that he can continue to fight.
Bernard, you want to continue? Okay, are you ready?
One of the few times.
Round was almost over. Are you ready?
You've seen a guy take all the time given to him.
Okay, he's ready to go. Stay there. He's ready to go.
Hopkins says he's ready to go. There were times in the demeanor that I was questioning whether he wanted to stop the fight, but he's ready to go. 1 point has been taken away from Roy Jones Jr.
Hey, time in.
And his time is back in. There's not a lot of time left in this round, but Bernard assaults Roy Jones now. He didn't like the fact he was hitting the back of the head, and he's trying to show it. And there it is, they battle, and Tony has to go in there. They really go at it. What a brawl it turned out for the last few seconds. And Roy Jones wasn't having any of the being bullied by Bernard Hopkins. Now the question is, who won that round?
Hopkins won the round already to me, and now we'll get a 2-point round, as I would see that.
So it becomes a 10-8 round.
Pretty soon this fight may not be about the judges anymore. This might, the personal element might really come into play. Now,
it'll be interesting to see what happens when we go to the 7th round if this brawl picks up.
What you're feeling on a possible Hopkins low blow. For the retaliation.
I could almost be assured that you'll see something illegal by Burnett. Here we go. The bell is sounded. And these fighters want at each other. If there was no love lost before the fight, there's certainly no love lost now.
No. Look, both of y'all, let's cut this out. Fight like
Tony Weeks says, fight like the champions. Fight like professionals.
Time in.
All right, here they go. The crowd absolutely loves it, Dave.
He doesn't want to caution them too much. This fight has a lot of juice right now. Let these guys go.
Hopkins definitely has an adrenaline flow since the flagrant hit behind the head that Tony had to take the point away. Neither fighter has been down except for the hit in the back of the head that Hopkins went down because of that, the illegal blow, which Jones paid for dearly because Hopkins was leading in that round, and then losing the point makes it a 10-8 round, the same as if he were actually knocked down. So, with that said, Hopkins is out in front in this fight, according to my score sheet, 59-54. And I expect the judges to be fairly close to that. Good body shot by Bernard. But there's also an adrenaline flow for Roy Jones Jr. These are two warriors, Dave.
Well, you know what? They rumble. You get the low blow. You get the hit behind the head. And Hopkins, they asked him, he could not stop fighting there. He would never hear the end of it had that fight ended at that point, regardless of the circumstance. So he also did something very smart. One of the few guys who took the entire amount of time the referee gave him. A lot of people feel pressured to start fighting too soon after that because the crowd is on them and they feel egged on. Hopkins took the whole break.
Well, Tony Weeks, I heard him say to Roy Jones, he said, I'm taking a point away. I have to because I can't have you. That was an illegal blow and it was intentional, and you better hope that he can continue to fight. Boy, when they're in there, now Roy says, hey, you told him to stop and he hit after the bell. Well, you got to protect yourself after what he did. Roy, the crybaby to the ref. These guys are extraordinary individuals who want it so bad. It could be the last fight for either or both of these men tonight. Oh, you're watching two, as Michael Buffer said at the outset, two legends destined for the Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota. Kind of an even round here, Dave. Can you get this going either way? Jones hasn't done much.
And Hopkins hasn't been able to rush him and tie him up. Because this is about headhunting right now for both guys. And so, because of the headhunting,
Roy trying to set the trap. Trying to set the trap, and it's going to be very difficult to give this round to either one of the guys. Closing seconds of the seventh, so we didn't get the all-out brawl we expected from the way the last round ended. All right, the bell ends the seventh. Which way are you going with that one, David?
Maybe it's 8-8, that round. Lower.
John, this motherfucker.
All right now, Bernard? Deep breath.
X, this motherfucker's faking. This John is faking and he's fronting. If you double this jab up, man, take that feint over. That right hook is there and he's driving to the body. He's going straight back in the line. He's looking to jump at you. All he's trying to do is take the play.
Jones trying to attack, but Hopkins beats him to that part of it. Throws a hook to the body. Jones trying to referee the fight and fight at the same time, and Bernard slipped one in.
And the heads also came together there. Bernard's head accidentally cracked across the jaw of Roy Jones. No accident, by the way.
These guys, the word accident will forever be in quotes.
Yes. These guys don't make any mistakes. All right, here we go to round number 8. It's scheduled for 12. It's been rough and tumble. Slight cut by a headbutt by the left thigh of Roy Jones Jr. in the second round. Hopkins was down by an illegal punch at the end of the 6th round, and then we had a Pier 6 brawl for the last 10 to 15 seconds of the round. Round 7 quieted down, a fairly even round, although David gave the edge to Roy Jones. I thought it was even enough, and I expected the judges would be split on that. So I still have it 69-64. So Jones needs to start winning, according to my score sheet, needs to start winning some rounds here. Again, all these rounds fairly even.
Hopkins showing what to do against a guy who keeps his left hand out as much as Jones did. He took 2 hard slapping jabs at the left hand, and the second one he tried to pull the left hand out of its orbit so that he could fire a right hand behind it.
First minute gone. Let him go. Jones has that cocky look on his face like things are going according to Hoyle, but I wonder if he realized he could be behind in this fight. Bernard, all business on his face.
Well, these guys are also expert on the spin doctor mentality after a close fight.
Yes, they are. Roy Jones with his back here. Bernard Hopkins to the left of your screen. Red trim on Hopkins' trunks. White trim on Roy Jones' trunks. Body shots. Roy ties him up upstairs. Tony Weeks is to the side of the free hand that time to make sure you keep an eye on these guys. Tony, by the way, has done a terrific job in not an easy fight to referee when you get 2 warriors that are this smart in their stage of their career. There's a shot upstairs that time taken by the ear. Roy trying to score on the inside. The pity pat punches that he's been throwing a lot when they're on the inside. He looks a little bit winded right now for the first time, but he just sucked up a bit of air. He gets off a couple of good left hooks. Decent left hooks, I should say.
Again, Jones with those left hand down low. It's set up for Hopkins, but he doesn't buy into the trap.
He comes in and misses with the right hand, and Roy sticks his tongue out at him. Roy makes him miss again. He has him tied up upstairs, and they both bang each other. Roy hit him behind the head again. And Bernard gets down on the one knee. Tony Weeks tough time again. He may have taken a point away. That's the second time and hit the back of the head. I think it wasn't as heavy as last time, though. But Bernard is not going to allow it to be hit in the head.
Take another look. Post-sided.
Oh, man, right in the back of the head. I'll tell you
that was not something where the head's turned and you're in the path to punch. That's blatant.
One more time, and you guys all engaged, but you definitely don't want to see it.
Yeah, I think someone I'm going. Okay, just keep it clean. Come on. You gotta watch it, man. Over here. Can you continue? Both of you fight on them. Nobody's going to be. Can you continue? Okay, are you ready to go? Okay.
Talked in the second time. Tony very clear came to me and said, I'm not taking away any points. So Tony Weeks doesn't buy into the theater here. He's a very smart referee, is Tony. Closing seconds now, the 8th round. Bernard trying to steal this round by assaulting at the end. He caught Roy in the tip of the chin with that right hand. Tries to load up a shot, and they keep going after the bell again. But Tony's earning his money tonight.
Yeah, he anticipated that situation, and he was there.
Meanwhile, I got to give that round to Hopkins.
Yes.
And if our scorecard is close to being right, Dave, you have Jones a point closer than I do, but as Evander Holyfield, 4-time world heavyweight champ, wants to do it one more time, fights Francois Bota here in Las Vegas next week.
Well, from last round, shot behind the head by Hopkins and a shot behind the head by Jones. Same offense for both guys. Both fouling. Jones winking. He gets hit. You're not getting away with one.
But Bernard, who might be a little bit winded, takes the advantage of the 3 or 4 minutes rest. And Tony Weeks not sucking in by the whole thing at all, in that both of them fall. So here we go with round number 9. Let's see if this ignites either or both of these fighters. By the way, again, I reiterate that Roy Jones Jr. needs to start winning some rounds, and he needs to win them in a hurry, according to my score sheet. But the rounds have been so close on many occasions, I would probably suggest that the judges may be split in the way they're scoring these rounds. You know, when you go to the conventions and you see anybody can score that easy 10-9 round, but 40% of professional judges disagree on the close 10-9 round. And we've had some close 10-9 rounds in this fight. This is round 9 in the scheduled 12-round affair. And what's it for? Not a championship, but for pride.
Well, we don't need no stinking title. These guys just go after it with their names and their reputations.
Stop.
Roy has got to be more offensive-minded right now. Minute gone here in round number 9, and Roy not doing anything to win that first minute. Trying to skip forward, now tries to open up offensively a little bit, but Bernard has nothing to do with it. He comes forward. Roy seems to have a second win now. He looked at one stage a little bit fatigued for the first time in the last round, but he's all right now.
Well, he's had breaks in 2 of the rounds because of the fouls. That's helped get a little bit of wind back for him, and then he had the break right after that for the round ending.
And Bernard, at 45 years of age, knows how to get that extra time, and he got it all. But with almost 2 minutes gone here, that was a good right hand finally by Roy Jones. But he's got to do more than one punch at a time. He's going to win this round. And he's got to have this round.
Now, from where Jones is right now, his opponents in the past would make the mistake, and he would make them pay for it. Hopkins is not making the mistake of walking right into a trap or letting Jones walk himself into punching position. So Jones doesn't have a big weapon.
And while Roy is still a very extraordinary talent, you wonder if he can actually pull the trigger on it. Oh, he caught Bernard with a pretty good shot that time. Bernard's going to stop turning his head away from this guy. 25 seconds to go in the 9th round. Jones can still win this round, and he needs to win it. Closing seconds has been Jones on the assault, coming forward most of this round. As Bernard sort of taking this round off a bit. I'm giving that round to Roy Jones Jr. I've got an 88-83 with 3 rounds to go in favor of Hopkins. Remember, Dave and I scored that 6th round where 1 point was taken away for the illegal blow, which 2 points now make a big difference in this fight. it would still mean that Roy Jones would need to win the rest of the rounds in this fight if he's in it.
He has no margin of error left.
Pushing him back. The fight that fell in there, you attacking, him falling back. Stay attacking. Dog this motherfucker, man. Dog him out. This is your time.
Hopkins on the assault here. Right hand, left hand, nice hook. The tie-up of Jones. Jones comes back. Good right hand. But Hopkins is right back on top of him. We haven't seen combinations at all from Jones.
The jab hasn't landed too much. Roy with the right hand out in front, almost fighting like a southpaw at times, with his hands held high. Tony Weeks continues to do a tremendous job refereeing this fight. Tony, Kenny Bayless, Joe Cortez, all great referees. Robert Byrd, all here with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Vic Dracula. Stop. Bernard's back to his punch, grab, and walk back again. That's the way he started the fight, and it was very successful for him. He has a low blow again, and now here's Hopkins down on the canvas for the third time.
Time for 5 minutes.
They'll get 5 minutes. Now, before they changed the rule, you used to have to beat the count and then get to 5 minutes.
That's right. You had to get up following a low blow or you could be counted out.
Let's see.
But it was a guy that this guy won the title from, Segundo Mercado, that won the title a couple of times by being down by low blows.
Low blow there by Jones, yep.
But again, I think that, I mean, that wasn't that bad in reality.
No.
But again, we're not in there taking it either. And this guy at 45 years of age knows every trick in the trade to give himself every opportunity.
Well, that one
was low, but whether it caused this much pain or not, don't forget they got a big protector there that spreads it around. But Bernard Hopkins is a master. He's been down 3 times in this fight, all by illegal blows.
Jones had hit him before. Behind the head was Hopkins. No call with the shot behind the head.
I can't touch you. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Hold it there. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Hold it.
All right, here we go. Let's see if Bernard now attacks and he's had his respite. He certainly has a look on his face like he wants to mug somebody. And that somebody would be Roy Jones. Roy comes with another uppercut in the solar plexus. And this time Bernard walks it back.
Low shot by Jones. You know, half the replays we've had tonight have shown illegal punches.
And they both have thrown illegal punches. I mean, there's no love lost between these two guys. And they've been slick about when they've done it, too. They've tried to do it in the offside of Tony Weeks. Tony's caught him in the act a couple of times and refused to take points away before. It's just sloppy now. And these are two tough, hard warriors just exchanging inside body blows.
Good uppercut by Jones.
Yeah, Jones is really kind of imposing his will on Bernard right now. Bernard backing off, Jones chasing him down. More the aggressor. Well, Jones looks to be the fresh of the two right now, doesn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he's got some good leverage, good power coming up the middle.
He lets off his 2 shots, but then he misses. Doesn't do any damage to Roy. Roy hasn't been shaken at all in this fight. For a guy that's been stopped on a few occasions in his recent 10 fights. Bernard showing some fatigue and that he's missing some punches. As I say that, he lands a 3-punch combination. But no real power behind it. His hands are down now.
Well, Jones will have the highlight reel punches of this round, but Hopkins may still have the volume.
Roy with a sneaky uppercut in the inside with 18 seconds to go. I don't know if Bernard has done enough to win this 10th round. I think Roy is out-punched him a little bit more. And you think it might be slightly the other way. So
very slight.
So what does that tell you, folks? That tells you that the judges, 3 judges, that maybe 2 of them see it Dave's way, 1 my way. Another very close round.
Stay on focus. What you got to do? Do your job. We gonna close like a champion. This guy ain't real. He bullshit next. Anything he lands, you can get it back by doubling your jab up and pushing him back and getting it right back. Keep your space.
Both of y'all are holding. Both of y'all.
We trying to fight. He keep grabbing. We trying to fight. Every time he come forward, they gotta grab his hand, Tony.
He's coming right to you. Let him come to you. When he comes to you, let the hands up. He ain't got nothing for you. You see everything coming. Everything
on the road, take a half step back and drop your shot. Half step back and turn your shot.
You know, Dave, I've got 10 rounds that you and I thought were too close to call. If the judges are going to go one way or the other, they're not going to score any even rounds. So, you know, while I have Hopkins out in front in this fight, almost requiring a knockdown or a knockout for Dzhons to win, even if he wins the last 2 rounds of the fight, and with those 2 rounds, 3 rounds that is so close to call, this fight could be pretty close to even. So, we don't want to give you the wrong impression here, but I think definitely Roy Jones needs to win the last couple of rounds of the fight, and then it's going to be up to the scorekeepers, because it doesn't appear there's going to be any knockout in this fight.
Well, considering how this fight started, it's hard to argue against Hopkins sweeping the first 4 rounds. As Jones now works the clock and takes the time. This is becoming too much of a story in this fight.
What's wrong?
3 delays by Hopkins and 1 here by Jones.
Roy now complaining he had hit him behind the head, and Tony gives him all the break. He doesn't want to disqualify anybody.
Got an accidental headbutt.
Oh, this is an accidental headbutt. Is he cut up in the...
Yeah, he's cut.
So Jones cut for the second time, but this time...
Accidental. Here we go. Time in. Let's go.
Up in the left eye lid, isn't it?
Yep.
So we've had stoppages for accidental headbutts. We've had low blows. We've had a point off for hit behind the head. We've had a second hit behind the head. So we've seen just about everything illegal you can see in a fight. And when there's bad blood between 2 guys, I guess that's what you could expect. 2 guys that don't want their careers to end, and 2 guys that refuse to lose. And they're doing everything they can, legal or illegal, to win this fight. And that's what you probably expect from 2 great warriors like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins.
It's a rarity in the second half of this fight to go 3 minutes without a major stoppage, as these guys with their heads coming together and the low blows.
And for all of the illegal things that have happened in this fight, again, I credit Tony Weeks for keeping it semi under control as best as any referee could do without interfering and stopping this fight, which is the last thing we want to see. Let the fighters determine it as long as you possibly can, and that's what Tony's done. Half the round gone by, neither guy winning this round, definitively anyway. Real chess match now, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, Hopkins starting to find a little bit of his second win. Roy Jones got his a couple rounds ago. And considering what Hopkins did to Tarver and Pavlik, he hasn't really been able to do the same thing to Roy Jones.
Yeah, but Roy Jones is such a slick boxer. He's such a smart guy in the ring. And both of these guys, while they're different fighters, they do a lot of things very similar. They're both extremely intelligent. They both know how to set traps. What Roy couldn't figure out in the first 3 rounds that may eventually cost him the decision if he loses it is the way Bernard was able to get off shots in the first 3 rounds and then hold him and walk him back. And then after that, Roy sort of figured it out and did a better job boxing him. Not a lot of difference between the 2 in this round either. You wonder what's going through their minds, because you know they're thinking. This isn't like 2 kids out in the street fighting. These are thinking men fighters.
And the spin doctrine will come in very quickly. That was a good round for Hopkins.
That's it.
I think that Bernard did enough to win that round myself.
We're going to listen to tie up. This time, take him out. When you go to tie up, take a slide over. Extra, drop that right over there.
From that last round, here's Hopkins attacking, and the heads come together there. Dzhons was trying to hold them off. Hopkins kept coming.
Last round.
The battering ram shot. He initiated the headbutt. Got a shot in before Tony Weeks separated them. Hopkins driving Dzhons back here. Again the head. And there is Manos de Piedra. Hands of stone, Roberto Duran.
You'd never know that this guy might be the greatest lightweight fighter that ever lived. It looks a little bit like Fernando Valenzuela there. You people around the world, a great baseball pitcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Roberto Duran, you can see, has been eating well lately. But I'll tell you this, as a lightweight, 135 pounds, 130 pounds, he was one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. There's no question about it. And 135 pounds, he might be the best ever. I don't know. That's something that you can argue about. This is the 12th and final round. Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. Dave and I have the feeling that Hopkins is out in front in this fight. There have been a lot of close rounds in the fight. A lot of illegal blows. Hopkins was down 3 times by illegal blows in the fight, never scored as a knockdown. And is Roy Jones trying to finish strong? First minute of the last round almost gone. You might be watching history tonight. It could be the last fight for either or both of these men in the Hall of Fame careers.
I got you.
And both of them came to fight in tremendous physical condition. They may be only a percentage of what they were in their prime, but that still is pretty damn good when you talk about the extraordinary skill of these two amazing athletes. And they both wanted it immensely tonight.
Well, Hopkins got the jump with the clutching and the grabbing, and when he's at his best, it's not always a crowd-pleasing fight.
And this would be one of those because he was negating what Roy could do. And Roy, well, he's had some very good rounds, have been some very close rounds. He hasn't really definitively beat up Hopkins in any round. Not that Bernard has beat him up in any round either, but Bernard did what Dave was talking about, especially in the first 4 rounds of the fight, where he'd get off a combination of shots, land some wild punches, and then grab and walk back. And seemingly, Roy Jones couldn't solve that. And that might be the difference in this fight when the judges hand down their official renditions of what they think happened in this fight.
Hopkins is going back in these last 2 rounds to what he did early in the fight. Jones hasn't been able to stop him from coming in like that.
Bernard continues to turn his back on Roy, and Roy chases him right down. Roy would love to drop him in the closing seconds of this fight. But no matter what happens, Roy Jones Jr. didn't want to go out the way he did in Australia. And no matter what the official verdict is of this fight, you're watching 2 amazing Hall of Fame boxers in the twilights of their respective careers. And now they battle the last few seconds of 19 careers. Right through the bell. I've got Hopkins winning the fight, but we'll see what the judges say.
I think he gets it handily.
Well, if you think I got it handily, I got it 118, 111. That would be
handily enough.
That would be handily. But again, there were 3 rounds in the fight that if you give those 3 to Jones and take 3 away from Bernard Hopkins, it's very close.
Handily would vanish.
Yes. Very good. Doug Fisher is in there for the American networks, so we're going to stay around to interview these fighters. I want to thank our statisticians this week, Tammy Kotel, Nobu Ikushima, and Dan Raphael, for all their help. I think Dave and I get ready to call this fight. Bernard Hopkins victimized on several occasions, hit behind the head. And then he caused the headbutt, which borderline intentional. There was intentional low blows. Tony Weeks, again, an extraordinary job keeping this fight so at least it could continue to let the judges render an opinion as to who won this fight. Dave and I both think that Hopkins has done enough. Michael Buffer has the official score, and here he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Don Trella scores at 117, 110. Glenn Trowbridge, 117, 110. Dave Moretti, 118, 109, all to the winner by unanimous decision from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Well, Dave, the judges saw it the same way we did. In fact, almost exactly the same way we saw it. A unanimous decision victory for Bernard Hopkins. And again, the difference of the fight to me was the first 4 rounds where Roy just couldn't seem to figure out what to do with this guy. And Bernard was able to get away with getting off 4 or 5 combinations, grabbing and walking him back. And that turned out to be the difference in the fight.
He mugged him and he shortened the fight.
He used all his ring